Hi everyone, it's Gina K from Gina K Designs and your host of Stamp TV. And today on Stamp TV, I'm really excited to show you a card project made with this particular stamp set. This stamp set is the new stamp set by Simon Says Stamp and Gina K Designs called We Can Do This. And this set was designed specifically to raise money for hurricane victims. And 100% of the sale of this stamp set is going directly to help victims of the recent hurricanes. So you can find more information about this set and purchase yours at simonsaystamp.com. So let me show you a fun card project that you can make with this, and then I have a few other samples that I made to show you. The colors that I'm going to use for this card are the Gina K Designs Turquoise Sea, Fresh Asparagus, Lipstick, Jelly Bean Green, and some black Onyx. And for cardstock for this card, I'm using a Jelly Bean Green card base, some black Onyx, and some Gina K Designs Layering Weight White. I'm also going to be using two dies for this, and these are the dies by Gina K and ThermoWeb. It's the double-stitched circles and the single-stitched circles. ThermoWeb has them called large and small, so these are just the single-stitched are just a little bit larger than the double-stitched, and they nest together to make a perfect shadow layer. And we're going to do this on this card. And one thing that I thought was great was that this double-stitched circle matches really nicely with the wreath in this stamp set. So you can cut that out and do some really fun things with it. Then I'm also going to use, for this card, I'm going to use the Cuttlebug folder. This is the Swiss Dot embossing folder. I'm also going to use my Score Buddy, and I'm going to use my Misty. All right, so to begin, I'm going to create a really pretty floral design using some of these flowers. So let me open up this set here. And I'm going to use the very smallest one. And I'll show you some card projects where I use the bigger ones too. But for this card, I'm going to use the smallest one. So let's grab that here. And I'm going to use an acrylic block for this. And then I'm going to randomly stamp this just kind of down one side of this piece of cardstock. So I'll start like right here, and then I'm going to turn it as I go. And I'm not worrying too much about placement. Do a little bit up there, and maybe a little bit peeking out over there. All right, then my next stamp I'm going to use is this one, this little sprig of leaves. And this one I'm going to use the Jelly Bean Green. All right, so then I'll add a little sprig right here. Oops. Let's add a little sprig over here. We'll do one down here. And maybe one coming in from up here, like that. Okay, and then I'm going to grab this other sprig here, and I'm going to use the Fresh Asparagus for this one because I want to pull in a darker green. So this one, I'll just bring in here. Just a few of these, not a whole lot. Maybe I'll bring this one up like this. I'll bring it in over here. And you can see I'm kind of turning this as I go so that they don't look all like they're exactly the same direction. And then my very last stamp I want to add is the heart. Now there are two really cute hearts in this set. There's a very whimsical heart. You can see this one, very whimsical. And then there's a more traditional heart. For this card, I'm going to use the more traditional heart. And I'm going to use some of that lipstick ink that's so beautiful and so vibrant. We're just going to add these in everywhere. Let's see if I can... See, I should have used my Misty for that. Well, that's okay. I'm going to turn this one. And we'll add a little bit right coming in from this side here, just to add some red on that side. Let's see, do you think I can line it up? I might have to get my head in the way for this, but I'm gonna try it. That's a little better. All right, so then let's just clean up all the ink off of this area here. And now my next step is going to be to add some embossing, and I'm going to do that down the side of this card. So I have the Swiss Dot embossing folder, and I'm going to grab my Big Shot. Now, if you've never embossed with the Big Shot, it's pretty easy to do. All you have to do is take all the pages that come in this folder and put them in back and just have the blank plate at the bottom. All right, and now I'm going to line this up, and I am very picky about lining things up like this. I like them to be straight, so we're going to make them nice and straight here. We'll move it down just a little bit. All right, that looks pretty straight to me. And now I'm going to place this down. Oh, I moved it. Okay, there we go. I'm going to place this down onto my Big Shot, and then I'm going to lay this on top and help this go through. All right. Let's put this back together because I'm going to need it in just a minute. Here is my embossing. See how nice that looks? So just a little piece of it is going to be embossed. Then I'm going to grab my Score Buddy, and from the back I'm going to find a spot right next to that row of dots, and I'm going to add a score line. And if you want to be very fancy, you can add 2 score lines. Just line them up next to each other, and that kind of separates this part from this part. And even though that went over a little bit, that's okay. So now this whole panel is going to go onto my black card base. And I'll tape that on with a little bit of this sticky dot runner tape from ThermoWeb. I like this one because it's very forgiving. And that's going to go onto that black Onyx layer. And then this whole panel is going to go onto my Jelly Bean Green card base. And then it's going to be time to make the greeting piece. So that's ready. I'm going to put this aside, and then I have an extra piece of cardstock here, and this I'm going to grab my Misty for. So what I'm going to do here is, just in case it doesn't come out right, this one has to be right. All right, so I'm going to put my magnet here, and then I'm going to grab that wreath. Now the wreath can be stretched to a different shape if you want it to, but if you just lay it down and just kind of let it take its own shape, it will be a perfect circle. And so I'm going to pick that up using my Misty lid, and then I'm going to stamp this one using some of the fresh asparagus ink. So I'm going to ink that all up. And I'm going to stamp it. And see how pretty that came out. Let's zoom in just a little on that so you can see it a little closer. All right, so now my next step is to add a greeting. So I'm going to remove my wreath from here, and I'm going to pick up this greeting. I'm going to lay the greeting in there. So this is the greeting that says, "How beautiful a day can be when kindness touches it." Okay, so I am going to pick that up with the Misty. Position that paper back in the corner. And then I'm going to use some of the Gina K Designs Black Onyx ink and ink up this stamp. A little rag there. And then I'm going to stamp it. How pretty that is. Now I'm going to go back to that little heart stamp, and I'm going to grab some of that lipstick ink again. I'm going to ink that up and stamp that heart right in there like that. So that's going to be my little focal image, the little wreath from this set. It's such a fun set. And of course you can use this wreath with other stamps that you have in your collection, so you're not limited to just the greetings that are in this set. It's a nice wreath for other types of cards too, including your holiday cards. Okay, so now the next step is going to be to grab my Big Shot, and I'm going to cut this out using the double-stitched circle. And for this one, I am going to use a little piece of washi tape just so that it doesn't shift, because I really want that to be perfect in the center. It's not so bad if you're doing just a greeting, but if you are doing an actual stamp that is a circle image, you do want it to be right in the center. So sometimes adding a piece of washi tape just keeps everything in position. So we'll cut that out. Get that off of there. And there is the greeting piece. And now I'm going to use the single stitched circle with a piece of black cardstock. And this is going to give me that nice little shadow layer that I need for my wreath piece. So you can see how nicely those two go together. All right, so let me get the Big Shot out of the way here. And of course, if you don't have a Big Shot, you can certainly use a Cuttlebug, a Little Sister, a Gemini, any die cutting machine you like. All right, so now I'm going to adhere these two pieces together using some of the Thermal Web Sticky Dot Runner. And then this whole panel is going to get applied to my card using some of these foam squares. So see, that little heart didn't even matter because I'm going to cover it up anyway. Sometimes if you have those little mistakes, you're going to cover them anyway, so don't sweat them too much. Just keep going. And then this panel is going to go right kind of off to the side here, like that. How beautiful a day can be when kindness touches it. So there is one finished card. Now I did another version of that card just using a strip and leaving the other side blank. And I kind of like that look too. That's kind of fun. So then I made another one, and I decided for this one I would use the next size up flower, and I would do kind of a fancy cut where I cut just an inch off of the edge there, and then that's what the inside looks like. So it's kind of a fancier fold. So just what I cut off there, I just trimmed down a little bit and stuck there. So that's kind of a fun option. And then I did one with the other orientation, and I used one of the other greetings. You can see here, I used the one that says, "I'm here for you no matter what." And I used the real big flower for this one. And then inside, I used, "We can do this." So that might be a great one to send to a friend that maybe has struggled with the hurricane, or maybe one of your friends that is out in California struggling with the fires. These are very, very comforting cards to make and send. And so those are some finished card projects. You can head over to SimonsSaysStamp.com and pick up your copy of We Can Do This, and you can make beautiful cards just like these. And I'd love to see any card projects that you make with this stamp set. So if you're out there on Instagram, tag me at Gina K Designs, or tag me on Facebook or Twitter. I'd love to see what you can do. Thank you so much for participating in this fundraising event. I hope that you love this stamp set, and I hope that you get many hours of stamping fun with it. Thank you so much for watching today, and stop back to Stamp TV soon for more project videos.